morning, Washington Jackson Queen. How may I help you?
Hello, who am I speaking to?
This is Michelle. How may I help you, sir?
I'm calling for Alan Jackson.
I'm sorry, sir. He's not in right now. Can I take a message and I'll email him your phone number and your message?
Yeah, sure. This is left a message on Monday. I think he should have gotten it already. It's regarding...
Yeah, well, don't forget, he's not in town this week. He's on vacation, so it's going to take him a moment to get back to you, so I apologize. Thank you.
Okay, when are you expecting him back?
Oh, I think in a week and a half.
Okay.
So not next week, but the week after. But give it to me anyway. I'll send him an email.
Okay, well, could you make it clear that Nick Reiner is the brother of my partner, Tracy Reiner. I've been working for 10 years to clear up the schizophrenia myth, and I have a huge amount of information which is relevant to his case, and he's been sitting in prison for almost a year now, and he's not been getting my communications. So I think he has an obligation to get the information to Nick Reiner so that he knows that there's hope and that I have a massive amount of information which is relevant to his case.
Okay.
And I've contacted the public defender, but she's not responding either.
No, and that's what happens sometimes. So when he does get, I'm going to email him anyway when he gets back. I do have a list of people that have been calling, and I just reiterate and tell him. So I hope you understand. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Excuse me for my intensity, but it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with that Nick Reiner thinks there's a conspiracy, and it appears that there is, because there should be a free flow of information. The guy's life is on the line, and he could commit suicide in there if he doesn't get the truth that what happened is he got put on a bunch of shitty drugs and he got a false diagnosis. So the same thing happened to Eddie Ray Routh from the American Sniper. He killed the American Chris Kyle. Exact same scenario, and I've been working for 10 years to fix that with Tracy Reiner. So you're a witness that I've tried multiple times to communicate, and I've been working on this a long time, and we were going to help. Tracy Reiner was going to get Carrie Fisher on board, and then Carrie Fisher got poisoned with cocaine, heroin, and ecstasy.
Sir, can you hold it? All right. So, sir, sorry, somebody came in and I had to give him an envelope.
Okay, great. I just wanted to emphasize the urgency of the matter. I really appreciate you hearing me out.
Oh, gosh, yes. And then when I send an email like that, I do send it with the exclamation so he knows that there's urgency with the matter. So I just want you to know that we take in everyone's phone call and send it to everyone specifically that you asked for. You know what I mean? So we'll get it. And
great. Now, are you there with his partners?
How did he contact you?
424 392 0338. Yeah, and I got a receipt from him that he got the email, which I really appreciate. But I also told him that I have information relevant to another case there, which is Deputy District Attorney Michelle McGinnis. So,
Michelle McGinnis. I don't know Michelle McGinnis. Does she still work at the District Attorney's office?
Heidi Feldstein Soto prosecuted one of my associates falsely, and so it's a related, connected case.
Okay.
So there may be another attorney there who's involved. That information.
There might be. I'm going to have to just separate that from the Reiner information that you gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're definitely different issues.
Yeah, well, it ties together because it's malicious prosecution, and Javier Becerra went after another one of my business partners, and then he just had a heart attack earlier this year as a result. A doctor in Los Angeles, that was in the news. He got prosecuted by Javier Becerra.
All right, so sir, I have to go. I have another call.
Okay.
I do have the McGinnis stuff down. I will send that to that attorney. I do have the Nick Reiner information. Can I have at least that first name?
Chris Bennett.
Chris. Well, Chris, you are full of information. I can't say enough. So
well, you're a
and I can't guarantee
great receiver. You've got the baton now.
Yeah, but I can't guarantee it, though, when and how they'll contact you back. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Remember that. It might take a few weeks.
It can't take a few weeks. It really can't take a few weeks. So I'm just communicating to you that really it's not acceptable for Nick Reiner to be sitting there thinking that he getting the wrong information and there's some kind of an obstacle. He should have already gotten the information, and Alan Jackson...
Sure he does. That's another thing. He might already have this info, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to send it to him, and he'll check and reiterate if he does or not. So I sincerely appreciate that.
Awesome. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome, Chris. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
How do you like them apples? Alan Jackson. Okay, let's see what the other one has to say. Public defender. What's her name? Gotta look that up now. Public defender. Forgot her name. Kimberly Green. Okay. Let's try Kimberly Green. I already called her on Monday. Greene.
You've reached Kimberly Green, Deputy Public Defender. Please leave a message, including your callback number and your case number if you have it, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Please leave a message after the tone. When you have finished, please hang up or press the pound key for more options.
Hello, Ms. Green. This is Chris Bennett calling. Again, I called on Monday, and I sent you an email maybe 6 months ago. I've just left a second message for Alan Jackson. He's on vacation, and I told his assistant that it's not okay for Nick Reiner to be sitting there not getting this information which is relevant to his case. And I want to ask you, please respond. I think I got an email receipt from you. I really appreciate it. Confirming you got, I have 100 pages of quotes from the top experts on mental health who created the concept of post-traumatic stress, and they say schizophrenia is a myth. The Vietnam veterans were coming back from Vietnam 40 years ago, and they were getting misdiagnosed as having schizophrenia too, and put on a bunch of lame drugs, and it's been going on ever since. Millions of kids are getting misdiagnosed as having mental illnesses when they're actually getting abused severely. So that's what happened to Nick Reiner, is he got sexually abused by his dad and passed around to his friends, according to Billy Crystal and what's his name, the Senator Al Franken. So it's right there on my YouTube channel, New Planet Tech, NEW Planet TECH. You can also see a video with Javier Becerra and our top leaders saying millions of seniors are getting poisoned with 16 drugs in bad combinations. So Tracy Reiner was helping me get that cleared up. She was going to get Carrie Fisher involved. who was misdiagnosed with bipolar disorder. Carrie Fisher was also passed around and abused in her family, according to her half-sister, Tina Marie. Tina Marie spent 2 days with my partner, and because she was suicidal and she was on the run, working on doing a tell-all book. So I have insider information which is relevant to the case, and there seems to be some obstacle to it getting through to Nick Reiner, who's sitting in prison, unaware that he got misdiagnosed and put on a bunch of crazy-ass drugs. So I'm here in Austin right now, and I'm connecting with multiple Congress people, and I'm going to make sure that we get through. This has got to stop. I'd really appreciate it if you give me a call back and an email acknowledging that the information got through to Nick, and I need some kind of confirmation, and I need to get involved in the case so that I have 20 of the top experts on mental health who will testify that he was overdrugged and he was given the wrong diagnosis. And it's happening to millions of kids who are getting abused. They're getting put on amphetamines for ADHD. Chris Kyle, the American Sniper, the same thing happened to Eddie Ray Routh. Misdiagnosis of schizophrenia, put on a bunch of lame drugs, kicked out of the facility by the VA. They wouldn't accept him. He was homicidal and suicidal, and then his mom asked Chris Kyle for help. Chris Kyle, a nice guy, went ahead and tried to help without adequate training and without a facility. So I'm here getting ready to meet with Chris Kyle's friends who served with him. Jocko Willink served with Chris Kyle, and I'm getting to know his friend and his partner out here. His name is Leif Babin. His father is a congressman out here, and I'm getting real close to meeting him. So it's happening to veterans all over. I just met a veteran on Monday night who was misdiagnosed as having bipolar disorder and put on drugs right now. And I met his father. His father's a veteran of the Iraq War, and he was put on a bunch of drugs, which fortunately he got off of. So I'm setting up a coalition here of people that are concerned that 22 veterans a day are killing themselves because they're not getting the right treatment. They're getting put on a bunch of lame drugs, just like Nick Reiner. There's multiple cases like this. So one of my advisors and investors...
You've reached the maximum length for voice messages. Goodbye.
So Oscar Jr. Oscar, his brother invested in our project, and Oscar Jr. Was going to Rick Warren's church with Rick Warren's son. They knew each other. Rick Warren's son was put on a bunch of lame drugs, and over 10 years, he was chronically suicidal. His parents were at their wits' end. Pastor Rick Warren and his wife, they went to UCLA, I believe, and got, confirmation. Yeah, keep giving him the drugs. Then Oscar Jr. was going downhill. He was going in and out of the state facilities. He got kicked out of the state facility. He went home, and his stepmother really couldn't take it anymore. And she said, "I'm sorry, you can't stay here." So he killed her with an axe. That was a month after Rick Warren's son killed himself. Another suicide. Dr. Daniel Amen, for the 1 or 2 years prior, you can see him on video. Dr. Amen is a drug pusher. He pushes drugs on people of all ages to deal with depression and ADHD and all kinds of those phony mental illnesses. So he was selling his book at the church, and that was guiding Rick Warren in his treatment of his son. And Oscar, who was attending the church, he was going to addiction counseling at the church. They all were aware and in the loop of what was going on. So in the threat of being kicked out of and being homeless, he got pissed off at his stepmother and killed her with an axe. With blood on his hands, he went down to the church and the police showed up to arrest him. So it was almost 2 years ago that I contacted Rick Warren in his church, and I contacted Shad Mishad, who's at the National Veterans Foundation. He's one of the creators of the concept of post-traumatic stress. And I said, Shad, in the last 40 years, you and your colleagues who created the concept of post-traumatic stress have never gone on video to say, what is the real cure, which doesn't involve drugs? Giving the veterans a bunch of drugs really doesn't work because they suck. The mental illnesses are a bunch of fake labels that are baloney. And 22 veterans a day killing themselves is unnecessary. So I said, Shad, can you go on camera and with your colleagues and help me pull them together? Because Dr. Figley, I went out to Florida and met him 24 years ago. And I said, I got his signed book back in Los Angeles. And I said, Dr. Figley, you're the top expert in the world on post-traumatic stress. I need you to help me share your cure with the whole world because everybody I know has it. So the last 23 years, I've been trying to get those people together so they could just share information. And we've been blocked and sabotaged repeatedly. So Tracy Reiner was going to get Carrie Fisher on board, again, who was misdiagnosed as having bipolar disorder. Then Tracy Reiner's uncle died, Gary Marshall. A few months later, Carrie Fisher got poisoned with cocaine, heroin, and ecstasy. And then the next day, Debbie Reynolds died. I was trying to bring that whole family together in a healing project so we could share the cure with the whole world. It derailed us, but we can still do it. So Tracy didn't want to have anything to do with her dad because he was abusive towards her, and she didn't want to have anything to do with him. But, that's understandable. She didn't know the cure was right at hand, and I was trying to be thoughtful and delicate about, imposing it on people that are traumatized. So she tried to help me, but she just didn't want to be involved with him. So so Shad Shad said, yeah, Chris, I can do that. Definitely, I'm 80 years old, but I can definitely do it. He was there at work at the National Veterans Foundation, which has Martin Sheen on the board of advisors and Oliver Stone. And he was going to talk to Dr. Bruce Perry, who I've been also communicating with since 2008, when I delivered Dr. Bruce Perry's information and 100 pages of these excerpts from all the research to the Texas State Senate in a 12-hour hearing regarding foster care, which was totally screwed up in Texas. And I told him about the Forgotten Children Report. The Forgotten Children Report was written by Carol Keaton Strayhorn, the comptroller for Texas. Big, thick report saying kids all over Texas in foster care are getting misdiagnosed with all kinds of labels and then put on a bunch of drugs when they're getting abused. Instead of getting real counseling in a safe environment and healing for themselves and their family of origin. They just suck them out, stick them into a rotten system, and then put them on a bunch of drugs. That is batshit crazy. So, Carol Keaton Strayhorn, she delivered that Forgotten Children report to her two sons who were in the White House. Dr. Mark McClellan was running the FDA, which has oversight of all those drugs. Scott McClellan was the press secretary for Bush. Then we also sent my father's book in there. In 12 weeks, you can control your high blood pressure without drugs or anything else which is caused by stress, like ADHD and depression. It's right in here. Depression is a symptom of stress. I put together a chart which shows that bipolar disorder and ADHD have the exact same symptoms as stress. There's symptoms of stress from Hans Selye's book, The Stress of Life, which was published in the 1950s. So, gave all that information to the Texas State Senate, and then Bar McClellan said, Chris, I got a message from Mark McClellan, my son, that he's changing over to running Medicare and Medicaid, and he needs a little bit of time, but he's going to definitely check out your dad's book. Also, he was shared with him the information about Starlight, the most important invention of all time, which I had already been working with NASA and Boeing on for 5 years or so. And the space shuttle had just blown up because the heat shield failed, because they were supposed to use Starlight to improve it. You can hear that in the Dateline NBC report with Stone Phillips and Jane Pauley from 1994. They interview NASA, and they say maybe Starlight can help out with the fragile heat shield. So I'm intertwining multiple stories here. I hope you can keep up. So, Dr. Alan Atkins at Boeing, he bent over backwards. He tried to make a deal with Maurice. He wrote 5 pages of emails to the executives saying, we really need this. Really, really, really. Please, Maurice has been patient, the inventor. Please, we really need it. But no, all they did was they stole it, they copied it, they gave it to a company in Houston called Flame Seal, which sold millions of dollars of stock and built a 10,000 square foot plant in Houston. They did an infomercial with William Shatner, and they said Boeing is going to get our copied invention. It's going to go into all the Boeing jets, and it'll go into every jet in the world. And then that would have led to small jets and small planes getting a fireproof coating, a fireproof paint coating, and then we can also spray it on the insulation, which is throughout the hull of the entire jet, so they have a double protective fireproof layer. Now, because they have been refusing to cooperate, there's like 20 jet crashes of Boeing jets in which either it was caused by fire or people burned to death in the post-crash fire. So, I got like 10 of the biggest stories of all time here, and I'm getting close to cornering these criminals who just keep giving me the runaround. Not okay, Alan Jackson. Not okay for you to slam the door and say you're on vacation. Not okay. You got a big company there. You got a bunch of people working for you. You can get back to me. So, I need this guy's help because his dad oversees all of aviation safety. He's on 2 different committees that oversee aviation and transportation. And I've been contacting him for 3 years, so not pissed at him. We need a coalition to get behind him and Will Rivera, his good friend. So Will Rivera publishes this thing, and beautiful magazine. And I've been calling, there's this law firm here I've been trying to get through to, right down the street. Carol Troberman, defense. And then CPS. They help in custody battles, CPS investigations. I already left a message for him. I said, no way in hell CPS should be taking any kids because it's a rotten system of abusers and it needs radical changes, which I've been working on for over 20 years. So, I'm looking for a bright light in the universe, a compassionate person, compassionate people who want to stop the 22 veterans from killing themselves because they're just not getting information. We've got an information backlog. We've got to tear down the walls, tear down the wall, tear down the wall. Just like Pink Floyd said, there's these walls up. Totally unacceptable. So I know people are afraid. I've been talking to people for 20 years who tell me I can't do something about that because something bad will happen to me. Well, I got news for you. Dr. Howard Elkin wanted to help me, but he was scared too. He had a big practice, and I showed him the 16 drugs video with Javier Becerra and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Senator Rockefeller and President Obama and President Biden, 19 of our top leaders sitting around. Senator Kent Conrad said, millions of seniors are getting poisoned with bad drugs and bad combinations. Well, what's the alternative? Well, we're spending $6 trillion a year on sickness care. We could put $1 trillion in healthy living solutions, and we'll create jobs in every community for veterans also. In the boot camp cure, 1/3 of Americans are obese. They could go into there and get healthy. They're just not getting the right solutions paid for. And it'll create jobs in every community so the veterans are getting $50 an hour, radically generous pay, just to exercise and carefully work with people, make sure they don't have a heart attack and they get healthy. It's a no-brainer. So, but we need a team. So it takes a team. It takes a team to back him up so he can go to his dad and say, Daddy, we got a problem. People keep burning to death in fires, in aviation. We just lost 10,000 houses in Washington State or whatever. Europe, 10,000 more. What's going to be the toll this year? 1 year ago, it was all over Los Angeles. I got 2 of my business partners there who had their houses burned down. And they are totally, unavailable now. Super traumatized. Unable to help now. Then I got a bunch of friends in Maui who are all involved in that disaster. All because we're getting blocked from being on the market and from getting into people's mind and from the information freely flowing around through the news organizations. So I got 20 years experience of contacting news organizations. ABC News, John Nash, the aviation expert. After the Ethiopia airline crash, well, the witnesses in broad daylight on camera, they said, we saw it going over our head and it was on fire with a bunch of smoke coming out of the back. Well, immediately, John Nash went on ABC News and said, well, it might have been fire because that knocks out all the controls and that might explain it. Then he clammed up and he changed his tune. But Christiana Montepour did an interview with Mary Schiavo, former NTSB official, and they discussed that witness. But Mary Schiavo, I've contacted her multiple times over the last 20 years. She slammed the door also. So, the NTSB, the FAA, they've all been cooperating with Boeing and Flame Seal. They worked and they got approval for a spray-on fireproofing to go into all of the jets. Now, I contacted the people at the FAA Fire Research Branch, and I talked to the deputy director there, don't remember his name, and he gave me the runaround also. He referred me to a couple of his engineers, and then they talked to me and they said, well, we can't mandate anything, any particular product. Oh, well, they can raise the standards and then the best product will be used. So they were lying. All right, so we got to get past these liars, and the only way it's going to happen is with some Marines. I need some Marines who took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States to come together as a team and say enough is enough. All right, come on, guys. I don't hold any grudges. For the last 3 years I've been calling and begging and pleading you for help. All right, I figure it's all part of God's plan. all part of God's plan. Delay after delay after delay, so that we could all come together right at the right moment for the big shebang. And then my friend Michael Lawsage is going to get a real happy end result. All right? Thank you very much.